Pennsylvania, and also as far as Wales. And I really appreciate you all making a huge effort. I'll try to say just a few words, but here goes. 2 years ago, Lee and I practically forced Sarah to go on OkCupid. I actually first tried to sell her on eBay, but quality control of the bidders is really difficult there. Luckily these days, there are actually real online dating services. When Sarah showed me one of her many responses, and asked what I thought, I said, I like this profile except for one photo. It showed an unnaturally tall man high-fiving a penguin. I was immediately convinced she was going to end up in a trunk. But I'm so happy Sarah took a chance and went out with the penguin man, because it brought this amazing man into her life. I want to officially welcome Mark to our family. He's truly the perfect 10 for my sister. He is easygoing, funny, chivalrous, and devoted. Not to mention, he seriously makes the best hummus and bacon date I've ever had. I knew this was true love when Mark got this woman to eat sushi, listen to Neil Diamond, and drink beer in the same year. In the last 2 years, I've seen my sister happier than she's ever been, and that's down to you, Mark. They're always doing things together I never thought of, such as hiking down a hill that requires a priest to get down, going to Babby Abbey, oh, and yes, they won the costume contest, and camping in 30-degree weather. Okay, they might actually just be insane. So Sarah and I have been really close throughout our lives. People thought we were twins for years because we could always tell what one another were thinking without even speaking. Then we would simultaneously talk and understand what the other had to say. We had many adventures when we were little, building forts, playing in the woods, riding ponies, and we grew up on Star Wars and Princess Bride. We also spent many summers hiking with our family. As soon as Sarah started dating Mark, she didn't have to say anything, I could just tell it would last. She was truly happy again. Mark, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making my sister so happy. I can't wait to see what their future holds for them. Smiles, laughs, tales of adventure, and maybe even at some point, some beautiful, incredibly talented Amazon children. This is a real love story, and I wish you two the best. So let's toast to their future. Right, I'll officially hand this over to whoever is going next in the speech line.
At this time, please say hello to Nabil.
Okay. All right. Oh. Here we go.
For those of you who we didn't get to meet last night, my name's Nabil.
I'm Kelvin.
Better known as Coach to most of us. We first wanted to thank all of you all that are here, that could be here, and all the people that have made Mark and Sarah the amazing people that they are. But especially we wanted to thank their parents, Liz and Paul, Chris and Jennifer. You've raised some amazing children here. They're incredibly kind and thoughtful, and you should be very proud of that. Coach and I have known Mark for a little over a decade now, and Sarah, we have a little bit of advice for you. Coach even had the distinct pleasure or the utter misfortune to live with Mark for a short period.
It's hard to come up with a bad story about Mark. So I really had to dig hard for this one. When I was living with him, he was a great roommate. He went to bed early, he was quiet, and he was very clean. But he had an unnatural attachment to his Brita water pitcher. So one night, I drank the last of the water in the Brita water pitcher. And if anyone knows what a Brita is, it takes forever to refill them. So, with that being said, I put it back in the fridge a little bit empty, or maybe all the way empty. Completely empty according to Mark, so we got it on record now. And he left me a love note written on the pitcher itself explaining to me how he felt about me leaving it empty. There are a lot of words in it that I could not say, in public. But, so, Sarah, this is not very practical advice, but if he has a Brita in your new house, maybe you should just leave it alone. Maybe get your own color-coded one.
As many of you all know, Mark he's an adventure sort. He's a great outdoorsman. And I half expected this wedding to take place on top of Mount Kilimanjaro, and then a 15-mile trek down just for the reception. Thankfully, Sarah, I think you put the kibosh on that, so appreciate that. But that's not always the case. Mark, you may remember a time, actually, when you were living with Coach, and there were some wild berries that were growing behind your house, and you being the great outdoorsman and being sort of cocky, decided that you would eat some of those berries against, I think, everybody's better judgment. And of course, you broke out in a huge rash all across your body. And so, what did Mark do, thinking he poisoned himself, essentially? Not call 911, not go to the hospital, but call his friend who happened to be in medical school. I think second year of medical school, first year of medical school. Didn't really matter, I guess. He called me. So I looked at the rash. Didn't know what I was looking at, but I was able to diagnose you. You were a colossal idiot, as I recall. But, you turned out fine, survived. But I think the moral of the story, Sarah, is just watch what Mark puts in his mouth.
So this is the Mark you never really got to know. Let's tell you a few other Marks you didn't get to know. At one point, Mark had long hair, and he looked like a Beatles band reject, or maybe he's trying to look like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Or the Mark in high school that had blonde hair and looked like he belonged in a boy band.
And the Mark that was a vegetarian for many, many years, as long as me and Bill knew him. So this eating steak stuff is new to him, so it's really novel.
And these suspenders, they're not a new concept, actually. There was a period of time where Mark thought that suspenders were the coolest thing ever. And on more than a few occasions, he actually convinced Coach and I and Mark to wear suspenders out in public at non-lumberjack related events.
Suspender revolution.
So Sarah, you happen to meet Mark at a great time. He's over most of this experimental phase, and he's mostly a functioning adult now. And maybe you can help him become more of one.
But despite, yeah, that deserves a clap, actually. But despite all those things, Mark really is a great person and a great friend. And I spent the last few days trying to figure out, what is it that's made us such good friends? And it's a number of things, but I think the biggest thing really is, Mark, you're a problem solver, and I think that's why you take on a lot of these projects. You built that dartboard in hand for Sarah, you grew beer, you helped work on this wedding, and the thing is, you put your heart and soul into every project you work on. And I think the next big project for you is this marriage, which is why I know you guys are going to
Okay. With that, we'd like to propose a toast to the bride and groom, Mark and Sarah. May the joys you share today be the beginning of a lifetime of great happiness and fulfillment.